काय स्क्रीन गेली. ऍडमिट नितीन नाही आला.
प्रतीक आलं.
नितीन आज नाही. काय मला टेक्स्टबुक हवंय ना, मला दिसलं पाहिजे ना.
तेच आहे ना टेक्स्टबुक.
परत ते काय मी डायरेक्ट 10th ग्रुपवरनं घेतलेला, शेअर केलेला. हे काय केलं आता तू? 10th ग्रुपवरनं डायरेक्ट येतं ना. रेकॉर्डिंग आता चालू आहे ना मग. So anyway, the compounds are formed by chemical combination of elements. So sugar is a combination of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So C12H22O11. When compound is formed, the properties are changed. Okay. So as I told you, I have explained you about this carbon. The carbon 12 atoms of carbon, then hydrogen 22 and O11. So they combine together and they form a sugar molecule. Sugar is sweet in taste and we eat also. Okay. So same way here, many physical and chemical changes occurs in our surroundings. When chemical changes occur, a chemical reaction takes place.
Second page.
नाही, फर्स्ट आहे. सो मला बघायचंय ना, माझ्याकडे टेक्स्ट.
त्यांना दिसतंय का विचार.
हा, यू ऑल कॅन सी द स्क्रीन. हॅलो. हा, स्क्रीन यू कॅन सी नो. नाउ what is the meaning of physical change and the chemical change? What type of physical changes takes place in surroundings and what type of chemical changes takes place in surrounding? That you must know. Now physical changes, I'll give you the examples. Now ice is there, it is kept in the fridge. When you remove ice out, it melts and it is converted into water. So again you can keep the water inside the fridge. Again it gets solidified, it forms the ice. So this way the physical change means what? Temporary. It is a temporary change. Properties are not changed. Original substance remains as it is. No new substance is formed. Okay. So that is called physical change. You can take the another example, burning of candle. When you are burning the candle, the wax melts. And again you can collect that wax. Again you can burn that. So you are not changing the properties. It remains as it is. Okay. So that is called, now here so many examples are given. The table is given. You have to write whether it is a physical change or chemical change. The evaporation of water. Now when you evaporate, means when you are boiling the water, if you are covering that, then water when it starts boiling, the vapors are formed. Those vapors you collect it and condense it. Again you get the water back. So it is a physical change. Okay. But when you are cooking the food or ripening of fruit, you take the mango when it is ripe, then again you don't get back. So it is a chemical change. The digestion of food, it is a chemical change. Digestion of food takes place in the stomach. So again you don't get back the food. So it is a chemical change. Then there are so many other examples are also given. Milk turn into a curd. So again from the curd you are not getting milk back. So that is a chemical change. Okay. Then size reduction of naphthalene balls exposed to air. It gets evaporated. Okay. When you are exposed to air, all the naphthalene balls gets evaporated. Then staining of shahabat or what is that? kadappa tile by lemon juice. Staining. Now, Shahabat stone means marble pieces. Even at home also you must have noticed on the tiles also, if the acid drops are fallen down, the holes are formed. That means the carbon dioxide is liberated from that. So it is a chemical change. Breaking of a glass object on falling from the height. What happens to the glass object? Yes, it breaks, but then again you melt it and you can form the article, the glass article. Okay, so you must know what are the physical changes and the chemical changes. Now, chemical change is irreversible, whereas physical change is reversible. Okay, means from physical change you get the original substance back, but from the chemical change you are not getting the original substance back. Some new substances form, their chemical properties are changed. Okay, now what is the equation, chemical equation? The chemical equation is a representation of a chemical reaction with the help of chemical formulas. So for that you must know all the formulas also. Like what is the symbol of hydrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, everything you should know. Then only you can able to write a chemical equation. Now, a chemical reaction involves breaking and making of bonds between the atoms to produce new substance. Then chemical reactions are classified into four types. Now, chemical reactions, when you are writing the chemical reaction, you know on the left hand side you are writing the reactants and the right hand side you are writing the products. So what is the meaning of reactants and the products? That also you should know. Okay. So what are reactants? Now, if you are writing the equation of hydrogen reacts with oxygen, it forms water molecules. So hydrogen and oxygen are the reactants which you are going to write on the left hand side. So H2 plus O2, then you will show the arrow in between that and it forms the water molecule. Okay. Now water molecule is a product. And then that equation means number of atoms you have to calculate on both the sides. And then you have to write that the balance equation, balance chemical equation. You understood the meaning of reactants? The chemicals that undergoes chemical change in a chemical reaction, that is called reactants. So I gave you the example. Now simple examples you have to remember. In textbook, very big and hard examples are given. So those formulas, if you cannot remember, then it is a problem. You can take the simple example of sulfur and oxygen. S, sulfur, the symbol is S. Oxygen, the symbol is O2. Now, sulfur reacts with oxygen, it forms sulfur dioxide. Okay, so sulfur and oxygen you are writing on the left hand side with the plus sign in between. Then arrow is put and then sulfur dioxide, that is the product. So reactants are written on the left hand side and the product on the right hand side. Okay, when you are heating that, then you have to show above the arrow the triangle. Triangle indicates that you are going to heat that. Okay, so this way you can write the chemical reaction. Now here there are many types of chemical reactions. Now here, they have given one experiment over here that you take that this all experiments will do it in the lab when the school will reopen. What color changes and all that you must see, or you can do it at home if it is possible for you. If you have the what we say, it's not that glass lab and everything is required, but you can do it on the gas also, but in small quantity. But don't try, it is better, we'll do anyway in the practicals, everything is there. Okay. Now here they are given about the, in this page, the chemical equation. As I told you that in the textbook, all big examples are given and the it is difficult for you. If you can remember, it is well and good. Or otherwise I told you the simple examples. Okay. sulfur plus oxygen gives sulfur dioxide. Carbon plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide. Water plus oxygen, it gives water molecule. Like that, you can form the different simple chemical equations, and you can write the examples of those. Yes, yes. Any problem? In writing a chemical equation, in a chemical equation, the reactants are written on the left hand side, and while the products are written on the right hand side. An arrow bonding towards the products is drawn in between. In between the reactants and the product, the arrow is shown. The arrow indicates the direction of the reactions. Okay, so you are the mouth of the arrow you are showing towards the product. If the reactants or products are two or many, they are linked together with a plus sign. So two reactants are there. Sometimes what happens? One reactant is there, two products are formed. Sometimes two reactants are there, one product is formed. Sometimes the two reactants are there and the two products are formed. Sometimes two reactants and three products are formed. So different types of reactions are there. Here some examples are given over here. To make the chemical equations more informative, the physical states of the reactants are indicated in the equation. So you have to write whether it is in aqueous form or solid form or liquid form. So that you have to write with a small letter in the bracket. Or gas is there, then arrow indicates going up. Now carbon dioxide. So when you are writing CO2, you are showing the arrow going up. See here one equation is shown. Calcium carbonate, when it is heated, the triangle is shown above the arrow. So triangle indicates that you are heating that. And then calcium oxide is formed and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide, the arrow is shown going up. That means the gas is formed. Okay. Sometimes the arrow is shown going down. That also example is given. Arrow is going down. That means the precipitate is formed. Okay. So here textbook, so many examples are given, but I'll send you on the WhatsApp the simple equations which you can easily remember. Okay. So now we'll start with the types of reactions. Different types of chemical reactions. Now, when we are doing it, actually in the textbook also they must give first the types of reaction and then the balancing of reaction. Now here, chemical reactions are classified into the following four types in accordance with the nature and the number of reactants and the products are formed. So the first type is combination reaction. Now what is the combination reaction? In combination reaction, always you remember that when two or more reactants combine in a reaction to form a single product, that is called combination reaction. Now, example as I told you, hydrogen and oxygen. So H2 plus O2 gives H2O. You can write down in your textbook or in your notebook the reaction. Even I am going to send you on the WhatsApp also. So hydrogen plus oxygen, it forms water molecule. So two reactants are there, hydrogen and oxygen. And how many product is there? Only one product is there. So one single product is formed with the two or more reactants, then that is called a combination reaction. You can take the another simple example, magnesium plus oxygen. It gives magnesium oxide, means Mg. Magnesium, the symbol is Mg. Mg plus oxygen. Okay, when you are writing the molecular formula of oxygen or hydrogen, you have to write O2 or H2. Okay, so 2 Mg plus O2 gives 2 MgO. So single product is formed. MgO is magnesium oxide. Same way, simple example, you can take carbon plus oxygen. Carbon, the symbol is C and oxygen is O2. So carbon plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide. So CO2, carbon dioxide is CO2. Okay. Now sulfur plus oxygen, it gives sulfur dioxide. Like that you can write many examples. But you must know the correct molecular formula of each and every substances. So reactants also with the proper symbol, and you have to balance the left hand side and the right hand side. Whichever the elements you are using, their number of atoms should tally with the product atom. There should not be the difference. If two magnesium atoms are there in the reactants, so in the product also you have to show two magnesium atoms. Now see, as I told you the simple example, 2 Mg plus O2 gives 2 MgO. Now you must have got that question in your mind that why not 2 Mg2O2? Why not Mg2O2? So that is not the formula of magnesium oxide. So what is the formula of magnesium oxide? It is MgO. So you have to write the correct formula and then you balance it. Now on the left hand side 2 Mg are there. That means 2 atoms of Mg are there, magnesium, and 2 atoms of oxygen are there. So on the right hand side the products are there. So you have to write in front of MgO the 2. That means this 2 is for both. Yeah, 2 is for both. Okay, that means 2 atoms of Mg and 2 atoms of oxygen. So both the elements which are there in the product Mg and O, so 2 atoms of Mg and 2 atoms of oxygen. So this way the meaning of that. You cannot write Mg2O2 or you cannot change the formula of any of the substances. Then your equation will go wrong. Okay, that is why I told you, you remember the simple examples. Now example, carbon plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide. Carbon is C and oxygen is O2, gives carbon dioxide, that is CO2. So it is balanced only, correct? Because left hand side one carbon atom is there and 2 oxygen atoms are there. And the right hand side also one carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms. So the equation is balanced. Same way sulfur plus oxygen gives sulfur dioxide. So sulfur, one atom of sulfur and 2 atoms of oxygen on the left hand side. So it forms sulfur dioxide. So on the right hand side also in the products also one sulfur atom and 2 oxygen atoms. Okay. So this way if you will write the simple examples, then you will not lose your marks also. Now the second type of reaction, that is the decomposition reaction. Now in decomposition reaction, you can take the same example of, now I'll take the same example of water. Now from water you have learned the electrolysis method. So when you heat the water, what is formed? Hydrogen and oxygen you can separate out by electrolysis method. You know that voltmeter you have to use. So you pass the current through the water and the 2 test tubes are kept inverted in that. So in one test tube the hydrogen will be collected and one the oxygen will be collected. And how you will detect it? So when mouth of that test tube starts burning, that means it is a hydrogen. And when it helps in burning, if you are holding the candle near the mouth of the oxygen test tube and that continues to burn, then it is a oxygen. So that means you have separated hydrogen and oxygen. When hydrogen burns itself, फट ऐसे आवाज आता है जोर से. So you can understand that it is a hydrogen gas. So like that, another example you can write about the calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is CaCO3, that is a marble, or you can say limestone. CaCO3 when it is heated. Now see, for the water you have to pass the electric current. So when you are showing the arrow, so above the arrow you have to write the electric current. Okay. Now here for the calcium carbonate you are just going to heat it. So you show only the triangle. So when you heat the calcium carbonate, from that calcium is separated and carbonate that is separated. Okay, so that equation also means from calcium carbonate from CaCO3, arrow is shown above the arrow, the triangle you have to write, and what is separated, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Now this you must have noticed uh, when you are doing the whitewash and all. Whitewash मालूम है ना, चूना लगाते हैं घर पे, तो चूना में पानी डाला जाता है. यू मस्ट हैव सीन दैट. हम लोग ऐसे प्लास्टिक बकेट में नहीं डालते. व्हाई? बिकॉज व्हेन यू ऐड वाटर इन द लाइम, it is hot and then it starts burning and vapors are formed. You can see the bubbles also. If you have seen it, it is well and good. So, from that means the carbon dioxide is liberated. Okay. So, this is the decomposition reaction. So, what is decomposition reaction? The chemical reaction in which two or more products are formed from a single reactant. So it is just the opposite of the combination reaction. In combination reaction, it was there that when two or more reactants combines together, one single product is formed. And in decomposition reaction, when two or more products, when two or more products are formed from a single reactant. So example, I told you water and calcium carbonate. Okay, so when calcium carbonate is heated strongly, it decomposes to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas. Or the water molecule, when the electric current is passed, hydrogen and oxygen is separated. So these are the examples of decomposition reaction. You can write your own also examples. It is not compulsory that you can write from the textbook only the same examples. Your own examples also can be written. Okay, but when the identification will come, means the question will come to identify the type of chemical reaction, that time they will give from the textbook only. Now the third type of reaction is displacement reaction. What is the displacement reaction? So the reaction in which the place of the ion of less reactive elements in a compound is taken by another more reactive element by formation of its own ion. That is called displacement reaction. Now what is the meaning of this? Now say one example is given here, but it is given in the filling the blank form. So the same example I'll tell you. The copper sulfate is shown. It is in the aqueous form, and Fe. Fe is the ion. So when copper sulfate, you know copper sulfate, you must have seen in the 9th standard also. It is bluish color, sky blue color. Copper sulfate crystals are available. So that you dissolve and form the liquid, that is called aqueous condition or liquid form, and add in that the ion. Then what you find it, the copper is positively charged and SO4, that is sulfate, it is negatively charged. Then you are adding in that Fe. Fe is the ion, that is also positively charged. So when the products are formed, this Fe will combine with the negative of SO4, means negative SO4 will combine with Fe and new substance is formed. That means what is the product? FeSO4 plus Cu. So Cu, or what we say, the carbon will be displaced. Okay. So in the reaction, when iron is added to blue colored copper sulfate solution, then what is formed? The ferrous sulfate. FeSO4 is ferrous sulfate. Ferrous sulfate solution is formed, and copper is deposited. Okay, so copper will be separated from this. You can take the another example that is also shown, copper sulfate plus Pb. So any metal you take Pb is lead, then you can take zinc or any other metal you take. Okay, so one example we have done of copper sulfate plus Fe. So same way copper sulfate plus Pb. Pb is the lead, that is also positively charged. Copper is positively charged. Sulfate is negatively charged. So this sulfate will combine with the lead, and what is formed PbSO4, and copper will be displaced. Okay, so in displacement reaction, the ion of a less reactive element in a compound is taken by another more reactive element by formation of its own ions. That is called displacement reaction. Now the fourth type is double displacement reaction. Now double displacement reaction you have learned in the lower classes, the neutralization reaction. Now in neutralization reaction what happens? Acid and base react, and what is formed? The salt and water is formed. So in this reaction, in which in double displacement reaction, the reaction in which the ion in the reactants are exchanged to form a precipitate, that is called double displacement reaction. So here you can take the example. In this the example is not shown, but I will tell you the example. Example is that your neutralization example you take, neutralization reaction. So you are taking the acid and the base. So acid is HCl, means hydrochloric acid. When it reacts with NaOH, NaOH is sodium hydroxide. And what is formed? NaCl. So the positive and negative radicals, now NaOH, Na is positively charged, OH is negatively charged. In HCl, H is positively charged, Cl is negatively charged. Then the products which are formed, their mutual understanding, they exchange. Okay. So what is formed is sodium chloride. So sodium of NaOH combines with the Cl of HCl. So of one reactant, the positive combines with the another reactant's negative particles, and the two new substances are formed. So this is called the double decomposition reaction. You can take the another examples also. There are so many examples. One is BaSO4, means barium sulfate. When it combines with, but instead of that, that will be the difficult this thing. Easy ones I'll write and I'll give you the simple ones so that you can remember. You have done about the silver nitrate plus sodium chloride. You have done the experiment of ClBrI radicals. So when silver nitrate combines with NaCl, that means sodium chloride, it forms silver chloride and sodium nitrate. Okay, so the reaction in which the ions in the reactions are exchanged to form a precipitate are called double displacement reaction. Okay, so here the precipitates are formed, means the product which is formed that is not completely dissolved in the that means you will not get a complete soluble liquid. Precipitate means you will see the leftover in the down part in the test tube. Now supernatant means the upper liquid is different and the down you will get some particles of the substances. So that is called precipitate. Okay. Now endothermic and exothermic reaction. Now this endothermic, what happens? Endothermic and exothermic reaction. Now, what is the meaning of endothermic and exothermic reaction? Now, here, in endothermic reaction, a reaction in which heat is either absorbed from the surrounding or has to be supplied continuously from outside, that is called endothermic reaction. Okay? So the reaction in which the heat is either absorbed from the surrounding or has to be supplied continuously. Example, you take potassium nitrate. When it reacts with water and the heat is formed and potassium nitrate solution is formed. Or you can take the simple example which I told you of the lime. Lime you dissolve in water, you will find the test tube is very hot. Okay? So a test tube becomes hot. So heat is given out. Hello? Endothermic and exothermic. These are the two types. Now in exothermic, the reaction in which the heat is given away. Heat is given away, that is called exothermic. So the slack lime is the example. कौन सा? Example ना? Hello? मीटिंग संपली. बंद करू? काय ग? ए वैष्णवी. हा बंद झालं.